This video addresses North Carolina Math Standard 4.0A1. Interpret a multiplication equation as a comparison. Multiply or divide to solve word problems involving multiplicative comparisons using models and equations with a symbol for the unknown number. Distinguish multiplicative comparison from additive comparison. In an additive comparison, your math problem would look something like this. Ryan is 3 inches taller than Chloe. In this situation, you would add 3 inches to Chloe's height to get Ryan's height. But with multiplicative comparison, you're using multiplication to compare one number to another. Ryan is 3 times taller than Chloe. So in this situation, you wouldn't add the 3, you would multiply the 3 times Chloe's height. A multiplicative comparison is a situation in which one quantity is multiplied by a specified number to get another quantity. Students should be able to identify and verbalize which quantity is being multiplied and which number tells how many times. Students should be able to translate comparative situations into equations with an unknown and solve. In sample problem 1, Tristan has 3 bears. Stephen has 4 times as many bears as Tristan. How many bears does Stephen have? In this problem, the unknown is how many bears Stephen has. And students can draw a diagram to show the comparison. So I'm going to use a tape diagram. We know that Tristan has 3 bears. So I'm going to represent Tristan's amount with a box. And inside the box I'm going to put the amount of bears that Tristan has, 3 bears. The problem states that Stephen has 4 times as many bears as Tristan. Therefore, Stephen doesn't just have one box. Stephen has 4 times as many boxes. So we would draw 4 boxes to represent Stephen's amount. I explained to students that since the boxes are the same size, each box is equal to the same amount. So Stephen doesn't just have 1 3, Stephen has that number 4 times. We put a 3 in each box. Using tape diagrams to illustrate the multiplicative comparison is important for students' conceptual development. This enables them to see the comparison in the 2 amounts being compared. Since we don't know how many bears Stephen has, we can use a variable to represent his amount. 4 times 3, and I'm just going to use an S to represent Stephen. And we can also say 4 times as much as 3 equals S. Okay? And students know from 3rd grade their multiplication facts. We know that 4 times 3 is 12. So we would know that Stephen has 12 bears. The unknown can change in different types of multiplicative comparison problems. Looking at the second sample problem, Stephen has 12 bears. This is 4 times as many bears as Tristan. How many bears does Tristan have? In this problem, we know the number being compared, but we don't know the number being compared to. Stephen's amount is greater. So his box is going to be a big box. because we know that this number is 4 times as many as what Tristan has. And we know that Stephen has 12. It would take 4 of Tristan's boxes to equal the same amount that Stephen has. So for Tristan, we know that it's going to take 4 boxes to equal the same amount. So to put this into an equation, we know that 4 times some number is going to give us 12. Or we can say 4 times as much as what equals 12. And again, using the multiplication fact families that we learned in 3rd grade, students can know that 4 times 3 will give us 12, so there will be a 3 in each of the boxes. And some students may wish to use the inverse operation and divide to solve the problem. They may want to take the 12, divide it by the 4 boxes that Tristan has to give you the number or the amount that goes in each of the boxes. And we know that 12 divided by 4 is going to give us 3. As illustrated in this video, one goal of Standard 408A1 is to understand how to create a tape diagram and write an equation with an unknown to solve multiplicative comparisons. In 3rd grade, students began thinking about multiplication in terms of repeated addition. They learned that 4 groups of 3 was equal to 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. In multiplicative comparisons, students begin to understand the comparison as one amount being described in terms of another amount using multiplication. This extends their knowledge of fact families and understanding that multiplication and division are inverse operations. As they move forward to 5th grade, students continue to explore multiplicative comparisons with greater numbers.